Welcome to Ghostly.
Is Jerome Grand Hotel haunted?
Ghostly is a podcast that comes out every other week. In each episode, we take a ghost story or paranormal event and look into its complete history. Rebecca then gives us evidence proving that the story is real, and my job is to debate those pieces of evidence and get you, the listener, prepared to vote on if it's real or not. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. And as always, we're your host. I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca.
So we have an episode for you guys.
This is probably one of the more haunted places we have gone to. Or a place, let's just say this, something you can agree to, a place with the most stories or with a high number of stories.
I have not looked at the haunting stories.
Okay, but I'm just letting you know.
There was an article I pulled up that had haunting stories, but I chose not to use that because that wouldn't be fair. I usually am not prepared for these things.
I understand. But this is seriously super haunted.
Yes. Although I will say
it's got a great history.
That you did send me a couple of pictures.
I did.
And I did look at those pictures, so I have comments to make about those.
Okay.
But as far as the situation or anything like that, I do not have any details prior to this episode.
Okay.
And I did that to myself. It wasn't Rebecca doing that to me, although she does that to me sometimes, where she makes it impossible for me to find out anything.
I see.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about the Jerome Grand Hotel in Jerome, Arizona. You were telling me that it was a ghost town for a while. Essentially.
I mean, obviously it's one that's been revived.
Yeah.
But definitely kind of that old West mining town that then died off and then now has been reborn.
Well, it's because of Maynard from Tool.
I think that's a big part of it, yes.
Because he has a house there, and he also makes his wine there, right?
Right. He has a store. I'm assuming
he has a winery.
A winery. There you go. Well, it's also not that far from Sedona, which is super popular. So it's kind of like...
it's 100 miles from Phoenix.
Yes. So I was there years ago with a friend of mine who lives in the Phoenix area.
Okay.
I went out there with her sister and we visited her, and then we were going to go to Sedona. And then this was kind of like, we didn't spend the night, but we stopped in the town. I think on our way to Sedona, on our way back. So it's definitely an easy drive for people. Yeah. So I think that's why it's an artist community.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Lots of artists live there.
And it's very hilly, right?
Well, it's basically on I don't know if that's like a mountain, a mesa, I don't know what that
is.
A hill, but it's more than like a hill. What
was that movie that they had where they were in England or Scotland, and they were trying to find a mountain or something like that, and they were measuring it? It's an old movie.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Okay. Anyways.
Well, yeah. So basically, it's really cool because as you go, you're switchbacking up this mesa.
I call it back switching.
I see.
Not
that's on
not
the way
switchbacking.
That's on
the way down.
Is
okay.
Back switching.
Gotcha.
So the hotel itself is at the top,
the tippy top.
The tippy top. So it overlooks everything, and so we went into the town, and we did stop at a vineyard or wine store, or whatever. Winery. I don't think that was his. I don't remember that. I wish I had known that. I don't know, but all I'll say is a perfect representation of the town is very just casual local people. We went in and the person helping us just spent a ton of time showing us stuff and doing wine tastings and all of this, and then all of a sudden she's like, hey, do you want a tarot card reading? And so we all got free tarot card readings, and it was super fun. A fun place. We had a little bit of an incident that happened at the hotel, but it had nothing to do with any ghosts. It was just us and trying to park, but not a story for needed for the podcast, but we did get to go inside, and you can't go up to the rooms. They secure that off, but we were able to go into the lobby.
Well, they don't want paranormal investigations or anything like that happening there.
I read opposite of that. Maybe now they don't.
Yeah, now they don't.
Okay, for a while they did.
That's what I read.
Okay.
That they were standoffish about it.
Okay.
And that's why they will not let people upstairs at all unless you're a guest.
Yeah, I had read some other reason and I don't remember what it was because I've heard them talk about a lot of paranormal. They had groups there. They had Zach there.
Oh, okay.
So, anyways, it's a super fun town and a really beautiful hotel.
So it can't be haunted then. All right, so we're going to do shout-outs now. There are 2 ways to get a shout-out on Ghostly. The first way is to give us a review on Apple Podcast. We always prefer the 5-star reviews, but we will read any and all reviews that we receive. We didn't receive any this time.
No, but...
we haven't received any in a long time, so if you have not... please go on there and give us a review. We would love to read it on Ghostly.
Yeah, ratings help, but the reviews are, I think, what a lot of people read.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The second way is to become a member on Patreon. You just go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar. We have a few different tiers to choose from. You know, like we even have a $1 tier. Mm-hmm. So you can become a Ghostly member then pretty much. Mm-hmm. And you can help us plan out our episodes and listen to a lot of cool extra episodes. Right now we have 21 extra episodes on there that are a little bit different. Some might be very similar, but they're different than the Ghostly scheme, but they do all revolve around paranormal.
Absolutely.
And we don't have any Patreons this time.
Oh, no new ones. Yes.
No new ones. I mean, we do have Patreons, but we don't have any new ones. Yes.
Yeah, but definitely go check it out. Lots of fun episodes over there.
Yes.
All right. So I have a listener mail.
Okay.
And this is actually from one of our Patreons.
Okay.
But she wrote in because we actually read a story of hers back in October.
Yes.
And she had a little bit more to add.
Okay.
So I don't want to go read her whole other letter, but just basically she had a friend staying over and, she has a friend staying over in this one. She was asleep and heard things, woke up and basically saw a shadow person.
Okay.
So that was kind of, there was more that happened, but the essential was she saw a shadow person. So here's the second part of that story.
The second part.
Yes, this is from Kim R. Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to share the finale of my story y'all recently shared. Sorry, she's from Texas. I should read it in a Texas accent. Hope y'all enjoyed it and find it as creepy as I did at the time. This was the last thing I remember happening in this home before we moved away. It was my birthday and my best friend, may she R.I.P., was over staying the night. We had just eaten dinner and were in our room chatting, having normal girl talk.
Oh, so pillow fights.
Oh, okay. These are children. We're just going to let that go. I was laying on my bed with my foot up on the window. Seems a little weird. Like, I don't know if the window was open or not, but having your foot on the window. But anyways, my mom came by my room and told us to take our dirty dishes to the kitchen so they could be washed. So I removed my foot from the window and got up from the bed. After grabbing my dishes and taking a few steps away from the bed, the window shattered. Okay, so maybe it was down. My mom and stepdad ran in to see what was going on. I explained to them what happened, and my stepdad ran outside. There was no one out there and no sign of anything that could have been thrown at the window. They then called the police to investigate the incident, which is probably a good idea, and they couldn't find any explanation for what happened either. Shortly after that, we moved. To this day, I haven't been able to come up with any explanation for what happened, but I still believe it had something to do with the shadow person I saw and whatever was sitting on my bed the night our family friend called. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wow. Somebody sitting on the bed. So there you go. Shattered window. I can't imagine that. Like, just like a window just randomly shattering. I
definitely think that would be
reason.
Scary. Yeah. Just the idea of that would be scary. But thank you so much, Kim, for sending us that again. I really appreciate it. And if you have a story that you want to share on Ghostly, you could email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com, or use the contact us form on ghostlypodcast.com. Or what's the other way?
They can send us snail mail. We love snail mail. Yeah, you can send it to us at P.O. Box number 264 in Geneva, Illinois, 60134. And you're probably not going to remember all of that. So where can they go to find all of this?
It's in the footer of our webpage. So just go to ghostlypodcast.com. You know, like people ask us sometimes, where are these pictures that we're talking about?
Yeah.
We always put the pictures on our website.
Yeah.
You just go there and you click on episodes, you find your episode, and bam, you'll see all the show notes with pictures and links to everything.
Yeah, I was going to say all the videos and things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we try to document it well
absolutely
on the website. So
yeah, definitely a good companion
yeah,
when you're listening.
Definitely.
All right. So next is, your favorite part.
Oh, Rebecca.
Time for polls.
All right. Let's just do it.
No skipping these. So in our last episode, we talked about the West Virginia Penitentiary. We did. And so ready?
Yeah.
It's yes, 69.2%, and no, 30.8%.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. You did. You won. Wait, it's not you winning. It's the believers winning.
The believers, it is haunted. There you go.
And there's no win or lose, Rebecca.
No, there's no win or lose.
It is basically saying that our listeners believe, the majority of them believe it is haunted.
Yes. And now, what was our rating?
So the rating is something that people can do when you go to vote, and you can go to vote at ghostlypodcast.com again.
Yes.
You know, we're always going to be sending you to our site, and you just go to polls, and it's right there. Mm-hmm. We don't. We ask for an email address so that we can verify that this is the first time you're voting, or that
no
you're
one
not
going
voting
out there and
multiple times.
Right.
Yeah. But besides that, we, even ask you if you want to subscribe to our email list. And if you don't, we never email you.
Yeah, no, we promise.
Yeah, we promise. So you can vote on how haunted you think it is. 1 being not haunted at all. 10 being the most haunted place in the world. It's 5.85.
Wow, that's actually really high.
That's fairly high.
That's pretty high, I guess I should say.
Yeah. I think we've had some in the 7s though, right?
Yeah, maybe like 1. Yeah. So, all right, pretty haunted. All right, so you ready for a ghost story?
I am ready.
Okay, so it's time for a ghost story.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
I've lived in this hotel for many years. I basically grew up here because my family owns it. We're an old place, but we've updated things, and it's considered the nicest hotel in town. People come from all over to see Jerome, and we are the perfect place to stay, especially with our amazing views of the valley. Oh, and our ghosts. At least, that's what the guests tell us. Every year we have a book where guests can record their paranormal experiences, and we often get over 300 entries. But I'm going to admit that I've never experienced anything myself. My father says that when he bought the place and during construction, that things felt ominous at first, but then after a few weeks it calmed down and just seemed like a happy place. And I will say that no one has ever claimed to be hurt or even really all that scared by what they've experienced here. But up until last week, I have to say I didn't really believe. I thought people just heard the rumors and let their imaginations run wild. But while I was working the front desk alone last weekend during the overnight shift, something happened that I can't totally explain. The phone rang from one of our guest rooms. When I answered it, something was off. It sounded staticky and like it was a messed up line. And a woman started talking, but she was just saying nonsense. And it sounded like she was really far away or like had her hand over her mouth or something. I was worried someone might be hurt. So I put up the "Be right back" sign and went up to the room. I knocked and knocked and no one answered. So eventually I opened the door with my master key. No one was there. It didn't even look like anyone was staying there, which I confirmed when I went back downstairs. Nothing was messed up. No one was in the bathroom or in the closet. And unless someone somehow snuck down the back stairs, unlikely, but I guess not impossible, they hadn't left the floor. I was the one on the elevator, the only elevator. I even checked our security cameras to see if someone left the building during that time. No one. I can't explain it. It's not like I saw a ghost, but maybe I talked to one. I feel a little closer to this place now.
All right. So my typical question, how much of this is made up?
So there is a story from one of the owners that claims that he answered the phone from a guest room and heard the creepy woman voice and then couldn't find anyone in the room. But I definitely made up like the details around it. And
like the "Be right back" sign?
Yeah, like that's all. And I don't know if it was the middle of the night or could have been the middle of the afternoon. I'm not sure. But he is on video talking about the story. So
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take a short break. And when we return, we will get to the Pat Facts.
Pat's Facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pat's Facts. He presents it all to you. Pat's Facts.
All right. The Pat Facts are sponsored by Tarot by Ta.
Ta is a professional tarot card reader with over 20 years of experience. He reads at numerous public events, private parties, and personal appointments throughout the greater Chicagoland area. He also does his readings worldwide using online services like Zoom.
And you know what the best part is, Rebecca? He's hashtag Team Skeptic.
Of course.
But he does a fantastic job. We've heard from people that have had readings. We interviewed somebody on Ghostly X that's had several readings from him,
Yes.
Rhonda. And Rhonda said that she doesn't know how he does it, but he is one of the best.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say
Nope.
anything bad. I wouldn't hesitate to
And
recommend.
he's a big believer in Ghostly. So, I mean...
Maybe not of ghosts, but of ghosts.
So to find out more about Ta, visit and like his Facebook page at facebook.com/tarot by Ta, or just do a search on Facebook for Tarot by Ta. That's PTAH.
Yes.
And these will be in our show notes as well. So if you go over to the website and click on episodes and click on the episode that you've just listened to or you're listening to, you will find a link to that.
Absolutely. You'll also find a link to our other sponsor, Sinister Coffee, who we love, keeps us awake.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to get into some of the Pat Facts now.
Pat Facts!
I think Rebecca is going to focus on the location for her evidence in this one. I just have a feeling because the building itself is kind of new. But we should definitely talk about what was at the location before it became the Jerome Grand Hotel. In 1917, a hospital was constructed where the hotel is today. Well, kind of two hospitals, actually, which is weird. I don't know the area very well, so I don't know if it needed two hospitals right next to each other. While some miners were doing some blasting, they hit a fault line, which caused what was similar to an earthquake. It damaged the entire south wing of one of the hospitals. So they decided to combine the hospitals and just build a new, larger one called the United Verde Hospital. The United Verde Hospital was a state-of-the-art medical facility. And in fact, so much so that in 1930, it was listed as the most modern and well-equipped hospital in Arizona and possibly in all the western states.
Wow. I was not expecting you to say that. That's interesting.
I just did, yeah. Although Jerome was a mining town, that meant at some point the mines would dry up, leaving a lot of people without employment or ways to make an income. Therefore, the miners in a mining town tend to move away when things get dry. They're always looking for the next big area. So this happened in Jerome, just like it happens all over the place. So much so that in 1950, the hospital actually closed down. Anybody still living in the area would have to go to the neighboring community hospital, and they transferred any residents over to a community hospital as well.
Gotcha.
But the hospital was pretty big, and it was hard to sell off. It was owned by the Phelps Dodge Mining Company.
That's interesting. Like
Why?
a hospital is owned by the company, like that's mining there. Like, I don't know.
Are you saying conflict of interest?
I don't know. Hopefully everything's all right on the up and up.
Well, I think so because it was a mining town, so the miner should be the one responsible for paying for the hospital, right?
Yeah, keeping their workers healthy.
But just think of how much money that mine generated, though, in order for them to have a humongous hospital like that.
That was like state of the art when it was built.
Yeah. So the hospital was then abandoned for 44 years. At that time, the former hospital was purchased by Larry Arthur from Phelps Dodge Mining Corporation in 1994 and was renamed the Jerome Grand Hotel, opening for business in 1996, and Larry still remains the owner of the Jerome Grand Hotel.
Yes, it is family owned.
Yes, absolutely. So the Jerome Grand Hotel is well noted to be the highest commercial building in the Verde area, the Verde Valley, being at a height of 5,240 feet above sea level.
Yeah, so, again, you don't think of Arizona necessarily as having like these high elevations, but there are places that do, like especially if you get over towards like the Grand Canyon and all that. I mean, like there are mountains. I mean, this
Absolutely.
is, again, this is still very deserty there. I mean, again, thanks to Sedona, the red clay and all of that. So it's more just like I said, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't live out there. Those of you in Arizona, please let us know. Mesa, something that like an elevated hill, I guess.
Okay. The building was considered by many a masterpiece of architecture because not only was it constructed of poured-in-place concrete, but also at a 50-degree slope on solid bedrock up against the slopes of Mingus Mountain.
Okay, they call it a mountain. All right.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's up against Mingus Mountain.
Right. Yeah.
So this, I don't know if that particular part Jerome is in is Mingus Mountain.
Maybe
or if it's
the pre-mountain.
I don't know. I don't know what that's called. So, but so it's sloped, and they had to build it like that.
That's why we had a little bit of a scary time in the parking lot. Like,
oh yeah,
it's really like you're gonna fall off.
Interesting. The 30,000 square foot building was designed to be fireproof. Not one piece of wood is in the framework, and also it's earthquake proof, as it needed to withstand not only the rumbling of Mother Nature, but also the blast of 260,000 pounds of dynamite. So, obviously the one hospital failed in that.
Right. So the next building had to be.
So they're like, we're going to really overbuild this thing.
Right.
The Jerome Grand Hotel is still in use today. The hotel itself doesn't promote the haunted side of things, like I was saying, but there's a debate between me and Rebecca if they are or not.
Yeah.
But you must be a guest in order to stay there, or in order to go up to the floors.
To go up to the floors, yes.
Yeah. So it'd be hard for paranormal investigators then if you have to be a guest.
Well, I mean, they just want to make sure they get money. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Yeah. Which is understandable.
Sure.
I mean, but while researching, I went on their website and looked. You can get a standard room for $200 on Valentine's Day. I did that because Valentine's Day is coming up.
There you go.
And I mean, most other days it's probably the same amount.
Sure.
I just searched for that date. Mm-hmm. But to rent the Grand Suite, which is actually one wing of the building.
Oh, wow.
You're looking at $645 for Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Which is still not that crazy. I mean,
No, I mean, for a lot of places, I mean, if you just went down the road to Sedona, it would be a lot more.
Well, once you hear what's in there, it's not that bad.
Okay.
The room capacity can fit 4 adults and 2 children. So you can go there, it could be 2 couples going there with a child each, and that wouldn't be bad. Then $323, a piece. Also, it has a complete kitchen with an oven. I know a lot of those times, like they say kitchen, but it's more a kitchenette.
Yeah, that's true.
And it doesn't really have that. It's got a dining room. It's approximately 2,000 square feet.
Oh, my.
With 2 primary bedrooms.
Okay.
It also has a Steinway upright piano in it.
All right. Sounds like a nice place.
Amongst other things, they have like laundry. They have other things in the suite.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. So.
There is a restaurant as well that I think we didn't go to, but I think you could eat at even if you're not staying there.
Well, I mean, if you guys want to send Ghostly to Jerome, we would be happy to oblige.
There you go.
As long as we can stay in the Grand Suite.
Definitely.
I love that it's the Jerome Grand Hotel and it's the Grand Suite.
Yes.
So I'm staying in the Grand Suite of the Grand Hotel.
I mean, they go for grand.
Yeah, but it's not a grand.
It's an upright.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
See, it's multiple levels there.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Do you have anything else to add to the history?
No, I think I've told my stories.
You told your story. So the parking.
Okay. Well, all right. So let me just say this. So we accidentally drove to like where the employees park.
Oh.
So we had to back up. Like there wasn't like, or we had to do like a 10-point turn. You know what I mean? It was like, It wasn't just so easy to like turn around.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just on a cliff and there's like just a little fancy thing. Like it would not protect anybody. But in the meantime,
it's more of a deterrent.
It's more of a deterrent. But in the meantime, somewhere on the property, some reason there was beeping. Like it was like beep, beep, like just this like loud beeping. And so my friend Courtney is driving, and her sister and I are like passengers. And so for some reason, like we start panicking about the beeping. Because again, we're in this mindset that we're in this like haunted town and this is a haunted hotel and everything is bad or haunted. And so we're like hearing this beeping and we're like, oh my gosh, like what is the beeping? And Courtney's just trying to keep us alive.
And she's just concerned with the 10-point turn.
With the 10-point turn and the cliff.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like trying to keep us actually alive in the real world. So so we keep talking about the beeping and Courtney keeps being like, yeah, but I just gotta make one more turn or whatever she's saying. And finally we get so frustrated. We're like, would you please acknowledge the beeping? And she was like, I hear the beeping, but I'm just trying to keep us alive. And then we realized that we were kind of being maybe we should be focused on not going off the side of the mountain.
Aww.
So anyways, it's one of our favorite friend stories. Yeah, poor Courtney. You know what? She is a level-headed person, thank goodness.
All right. Well, I think that means we're going to take a break, and when we return, we will get to the debate.
All right.
Oh, hey there, Count Panic. I got a question for you.
What's that, Bob?
What do you know about Mothman, the Loch Ness Monster, ghosts, demons, and things that go bump in the night?
Not much, Bob.
Well, lucky for you, we host a podcast called Bob After Dark where we talk about legends, lore, and the supernatural.
Wow, where can I find this podcast?
Wherever you find your great podcasts at.
All right, we are back from our break, and maybe we should just end the episode here and call it a win for me.
No.
You already went into this episode with bias because you believed it was haunted, and you also thought the whole town was haunted.
Oh, we could do a whole episode just on the town, and maybe someday we will, because there's more stories, but we're focusing on the hotel.
I'm just saying, you're already biased in this.
I mean, I heard that it was haunted, and then I read the stories, and I went, wow, it's haunted.
Well, not only did you hear it, you believed it before you heard the stories.
Because I'm a believer.
All right, let's do this.
All right. So, okay. Like I often say, there are so many stories. Like I couldn't possibly go into all of them. So I just tried my best to find some of the best ones. But I will say what's different about this one today is for a lot of these, not only do I have the story, but I also have like quotes from people who say they've seen these things. So
interesting.
Yeah. Not everything, but at least for a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first is one that I actually only found in a few places, but I found some good evidence of people talking about it, which is the sound of gurneys. Because remember, this was a hospital.
So I was right. You're going to focus on the location and not the hotel.
Well, it is the hotel. So,
but I mean, did anything bad happen in the hotel that you're going to focus on?
Well, there is something that happened. I think it was in the in-between times.
Okay.
It's the same building, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
they
is.
just remodeled it, but
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they even have the same heating system and the same Otis elevator, which doesn't operate like a normal elevator does. It's much slower. A normal elevator goes 800 feet a minute, I believe.
Okay.
And that goes 50 feet per minute.
Oh, we're going to be talking about the elevator.
Oh, okay.
We're going to...
The Otis elevator.
The Otis elevator.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
That's okay.
Wait,
So-
just so I can say this, Otis elevators were some of the first elevators that were available that were electric.
Oh,
that weren't
okay.
like on a pulley system.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So like when we talked about the Winchester Mystery House having an elevator, that was probably an Otis elevator as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that name sounds like a popular name of elevator.
But it's a specific type of elevator
Gotcha.
too.
Okay.
It's not just the company, but it's a type as well.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not that I know that much about elevators. I just read about it right before this.
I think you're an elevator nerd.
I'm an elevator expert.
Okay. So this is some quotes from the Arizona Central News.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just like this. Ghostly figures.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Sounds, unexplained orbs of light, and other paranormal activity permeate the halls of this ghost hunting cult mecca high above the turn of the century Yavapai County mining town, making it one of the most haunted places in Arizona. Now, I did send you a picture with orbs in it.
Oh,
Did you wanna
that's
make-
what that one was.
I mean, I really couldn't find a story behind that photo. It's just a photo of orbs that people took there. Did you want to make a comment about orbs?
Is this where we're going to do that? Or do you have another spot?
No,
where
I
you do
don't.
this?
So.
Okay. So yeah, the picture with the orbs in it. So it's a picture, they circled what they believed were orbs.
Yes.
To me, it looked like stains in the carpet and like natural stains in the wood, like the wood grain.
Interesting.
That
Okay.
they were saying were they weren't like illuminated very well to me. And I'm sure that the picture was enhanced too. So I don't know. But orbs, it could be dust on the camera lens. It could be a lot of different outside influences. And there's nothing that says that orbs are paranormal. It just oftentimes people say that they see orbs in areas that they believe are haunted. That's the only correlation. So to me, I think the orbs is a non piece of evidence. I don't think it really stands.
Yeah, I didn't want to linger on it too much because honestly, I mean, there are some orb pictures from there, but to me, they weren't like real distinct. Like it was hard. Like there's sometimes where you have a video of like an orb moving in an odd way or something. These are just static pictures.
Now, where it becomes more interesting is when people see the orbs with their naked eye. But even then, I've had situations where I've had situations where someone was wearing a watch or something and it reflected the light and it looks like an orb.
Okay, but like that, I would think I would know is a light.
It depends. It depends on the situation. It really does. But yes, maybe you would. I'm not going to argue that, but I'm just saying that there is other things that could be causing it, and therefore I am highly suspect of it.
Okay.
Because of that. Because, I mean, orbs, there's 1,000 reasons that are not paranormal for one reason that is not the most well-founded reason for it to be paranormal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there. But let's talk about these gurneys. So,
Okay.
so this is a quote from the general manager. So we were skeptical and didn't believe it in the beginning. So this is general manager Chris Arthur, which is...
Wait, before we go further, what was your thoughts about the orbs?
Oh, like I said, I'm kind of wishy-washy on them. Like
That's the one with the circles in the picture,
correct,
right?
correct,
And
yeah.
You didn't think it was...
I was kind of like, I mean, couldn't really find too many story behind the photo to know like what they were claiming.
They weren't even really good orb pictures.
No. So
yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Like I've seen some pretty good orb videos and pictures,
right,
where it's like, wow, that is interesting, but I don't think it's anything, but it is interesting. This one, it's more like, meh. It looks like the carpet's dirty and the wood grain.
Well,
That's
again,
all.
we'll include them on the website.
Okay,
so
yeah.
people can go take a look.
Sorry.
Okay. So this is general manager Chris Arthur, who, by the way, that's the one who has the story with the phone. So it's not the dad.
Okay.
It's the son who's like the general manager.
Sure.
Whose father, Bob, and Uncle Larry bought the boarded up 30,000 square foot building from the mining company in 1994. Okay. So he says, quote, we only had 6 rooms open at first and immediately began receiving reports from guests hearing voices and a hospital gurney in the hallways, but no one was there. So there's a lot of, again, visitor reports. So this is one that they have, again, they write these in the books in their lobby. So again, he said, we fill a 300-page journal each year. We have 4 or 5 of them right now. Activity happens throughout the hotel, but the 3rd floor in particular. Most of the deaths occurred in the operating room there. The sound of a hospital gurney, wheels across the floor, spook the uninitiated. And so then he says, we've made changes with the carpet and you can still hear it at 3 a.m. in the morning. And then I found another, this is from a totally different website of just like people telling their stories of what they saw while they were there. And there was one person who said, quote, much ghost activity outside our room last night. Metal doors kept opening and closing. Metal gurneys were being pushed along the hallway with people talking quietly about the person on the table. I felt they might want to enter my room. So.
And that was a 3-star review.
I don't know if it was 3 stars or if that was, it looked almost like it was like referencing something like a source kind of thing.
All right. So what I'm going to say about that is that a lot of stuff can happen in a hotel. I mean, you hear noises outside the room sometimes. And now I will say that although the hotel looks beautiful, the rooms don't look like they're updated pretty recently, or at least on the website they weren't. So I'm going to assume that it was very similar to what the rooms were in the old hospital. That they didn't break down all the rooms and reconstruct all the rooms.
Like the doorways are the same size and a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that I would say that there's a lot that can happen outside a hotel room in the middle of the night that would make people think that it was a gurney or something like that. It could be somebody pushing like a room service cart. It could be somebody pushing a luggage cart. Luggage carts, especially if the wheels aren't oiled very well, can sound like a gurney.
At 3 a.m. though?
Sure. What if somebody got there at 3 a.m.?
This is a small hotel. I mean, it's not that big of a hotel. Like, I would be really surprised.
Okay, well, that's my answer.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 1.
Okay, giving it a 1. Wow,
Yeah.
All right. I give this one an 8.
An 8.
Oh,
wow.
my gosh. I mean, I usually don't get this much evidence, so
Is that the highest you're going in this one, or are you going to go higher?
We'll see. I don't know.
Right.
I where it takes me.
I have a feeling at least one of them I'm probably going to go lower on. I don't know what evidence you have, but I just have a feeling that I'm probably going to go lower at some point.
All right. So this is another story. And I think I've heard it told a couple different ways. So I don't know for sure if this happened while it was a hotel or if it was like while they were constructing it or kind of exactly what happened or before that. But the owner says that out of the many visiting psychics over the years, 3 of them seemed to pick up on a number of things, both past and present. 2 in particular said the, quote, head nurse or the nurse in charge was upset with the removal of these desks that were in the like restaurant lounge area. I guess it used to be the dispensary and the main entrance for the hospital.
Okay.
So the owner told each psychic the original... the owner told each psychic the original dispensary desks were in storage. The psychics did not know each other and visited more than a year apart, so it wasn't like they were there together. So later, when they leased out the restaurant in 2003, the new tenant somehow saw 2 cabinets stored in the back of one of the garages at the hotel, and he asked the owner if he could put them in the restaurant, and said yes. So the original dispensary counter height desks were relocated within a few feet of their original replacement, and to this day, the head nurse has made no more complaints. So I actually read another source that said that the third psychic had come and was like, oh yeah, no, she's like happy now about it. So,
okay.
Anyways.
Well, here's the thing. When you're talking with psychics, it really depends on how much information you're giving them too. So we don't know the exact situation. Maybe when the second psychic came in, the person said something like, the last psychic was talking about desks from the head nurse. Do you know anything about that? Or are they saying anything about that? So we don't know if they gave it away or anything like that. So I'm going to have to go really low on this one. Even though they found the desks, I don't know if that was the real desks. I don't know any. No.
Well, just supposedly, like once they put the desks back in there, then things were like quieter again.
No part of this evidence is verifiable, whereas the first story that you gave me, they were verifiable because they're on a guest book. That's why I gave it a 1. And just because they have 300 pages, not every single person wrote in there, hey, there's the gurney.
That's true.
Anyways,
No, it wasn't always a gurney,
So I'm just going to say that maybe five people wrote in there or something. But anyways, this one about the head nurse, you can't verify. They're not saying who the psychics are. They not saying what happened before and after the psychics. They're not saying, it's just... Yeah, you can't verify these are the desks. I'm really upset about this one, I think.
Wow, you're getting hot.
So guess what? It gets a negative. No, I'm just kidding. We can't do negatives.
Can't do negatives.
0.
Can't do halves, according
0.
to you. All right, 0 for you. I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay.
Give this one a 6. All right, so this next one, I just like including these when I can. This is from TripAdvisor. So room 35 is kind of one of the rooms that's known to be like a super haunted room. So like I watched a video of, people staying overnight there and, just there's a lot of things with room 35. But I thought, okay, I saw this review on TripAdvisor and thought it'd be a good one. My husband and I were staying in Sedona and decided to spend the night at Jerome Hotel. We asked to stay in room 35. The hotel is very clean and the rooms are small but nice. Room 35 is where the little boy is at. Well, our experience started around 9 p.m. and never stopped. Streams of light through the night in the room. We backed up to the rock cliff and the drapes were closed. My husband was awakened by something tapping him very hard in the arm. Got an answer to the question when we asked Daniel how old he was. Someone said 8. We had a great time and got a lot of pictures and evidence. This is a must-see if you are a paranormal person. And then I love this, the last 2 sentences. Haunted hamburger was awesome. Have the giant piece of chocolate cake.
Nice.
So I don't know what the haunted hamburger is, if that's a restaurant or something, but
well, I do believe in haunted hamburgers, though.
Oh, okay.
Interesting story there. No, I'm just kidding.
So there is a little boy that they say haunts the room, of course, and there's a picture of a little, like a painting of a little boy that they'll often show, but I don't know if that's just, that just happens to be a picture of a little boy in there and they just associate it with that spirit. I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that these people went to there requesting this room because they believed it was haunted. So they go in there with a lot of bias and a lot of expectation. You're spending $200 a night. I'm sure in Sedona you might be able to find a cheaper room, and
I'd be surprised.
probably closer to the Sedona area. So I'm gonna say that they went in there looking for that. There's a painting of a boy in there, so that's why people think it's a boy. I think it's all just come down to one person made a lie at one point and said that they saw something, or maybe they thought that they saw something and told the story. Now everybody wants to check in on this story. It's kind of like the Clown Motel.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give this one a 0 too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This one I give a 7.
Okay.
For sure. I mean, they had stuff happen, but
All
it
right.
is a little, they were excited to be there. So I'll take that into account. Okay. Couple more. So the next one we'll talk about is children.
Okay.
So many guests and hotel staff have heard and seen what appears to be 4 or 5-year-old children running down the hallway on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
A lot of stuff on the 3rd floor. Sometimes crying or laughing. This child or these children also like to appear at the foot of the bed in various rooms, just staring at the occupant. Frequently, the sounds of giggling and running occur on the top floor as though children are at play. The sounds of a newborn baby's cry is common on the 3rd and 4th floors, as well as the faint smell of baby powder and zinc oxide. The baby's crying has alerted enough guests that they have phoned down to the front desk out of concern, the location being a vacant room. And then I found another one of those little stories that people had posted. They stayed in room 39 A and B. And they said, according to many guests staying in this room, a young child is looking for his father, and people report a baby crying. While working on the renovation, a worker also described a small boy who went into this room and couldn't be found. So this is where, again, it was under that list of stories, but it doesn't seem like it's a direct person. But they mentioned this worker saying this. I think that maybe this is the source for that room. 35. This is room 39 though.
Yeah.
About the boy. But
Okay.
anyways, but to me, it was more about just like children in general, like on the loose. Ghost children are on the loose on the 3rd and 4th floor.
I'm going to talk about most people, and then I will talk about the person doing the renovation.
Yes.
Okay. So most people that see this, I am pretty sure, although they don't talk about when they see them, but I am pretty sure it happens when they are in half sleep. So they're half asleep, half awake. They see something. It's kind of like the sleep paralysis kind of thing.
Which there is a lot of reported sleep paralysis there. We didn't have time.
Yeah. And that can be a physical thing. It doesn't have to be a paranormal thing. So I'm just going to say that a lot of times when people are in half sleep, you can see the weirdest things, and you can say the weirdest things and act the weirdest ways. So I don't think that that's credible then in that particular case. Now, the person doing the renovation, I wonder if he was saying this to his fellow workers as a way to scare them, because guys do this to each other. We try to scare each other a lot. So I'm going to go low on this one, but I'm going to keep it at a 1 for the renovator, but not for the many guests. The many guests, to me, it's all half asleep kind of things. Interesting.
All right, well, I'm going to give it a 6. I do think there's a lot here, but I also, I don't know if maybe it's just people hearing things. So I guess they say there's some sightings, but I didn't find any pictures necessarily of like ghost kids. But there's a lot of people. So, and then, we find the story of the boy. Now, really quick, I sent you another picture, and it was of a like half lady in white.
Yes, you did.
Now, I couldn't find much of a story behind the picture other than just people say it's a picture of a ghost that was seen there. But honestly, the more I've thought about it, I decided it could just be something somebody created to like advertise that it's haunted. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
I couldn't find anybody like being like, I'm the person who took this photo and like, this is what happened and this is what I think it is. So I don't have it in the evidence, but if you
Okay.
have some things you want to say about it, like, would you agree with me that maybe it was like more of like a promotional kind of photo?
Well, okay. So here is my thing about this.
Okay.
I wish there was a story associated with it because it is the most real looking picture I've ever seen.
I mean,
in
it looks
my
like a half
entire
a
life.
woman, like the bottom half, like fully.
Yeah, but it doesn't look wide enough to be a woman.
Maybe it was a kid. Ooh,
No. It does not look. It doesn't look wide enough to be a human. That was in that dress at some point.
Interesting.
To me, but I just thought it was really a cool picture.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started looking at it, it's in black and white too.
Yeah.
So you have to question, why is it in black and white? Is that an artistic thing? And if you have a picture of a ghost, are you really going to make it black and white, or are you doing that to make that white stand out more? And then if so, maybe you put the white in there. So maybe you're right. Maybe it was like an advertisement, or maybe it was just, you know, somebody getting on Photoshop and just having some fun.
Yeah.
But oh man, I wish there was a story to go along with that.
I'm sorry.
I was so looking forward to that one.
I was too. I was like, oh, I got to save this photo. Like I saw it, you know, in an article or something, but then I just never found a story about it. So
yeah, it's okay.
It could be that it was, again, just something that someone made up to put with an article, and then it's just gotten copied
I guess you could
over.
do an image search for it.
Well, I did. I mean,
A reverse image search for it.
Yeah, I probably could have done more.
I mean, you've
but
watched Catfish, right?
I know how to do reverse image search. I trust me. I've done it before. I'll see if I can find anything, and I'll put it in the notes. But if anyone knows anything about the photo, you know, feel free.
It's a really cool photo.
It is a cool photo.
I just wish that there was something more with it, because I wanted something to explain why it's so thin. Like, it's not thin like you would find somebody that's like anorexic to be thin. It's thin the other way, like shoulder to shoulder thin.
Well, I didn't see shoulders. I really just saw the bottom half.
But if you pictured what that person would look like if you went up further from that half.
I don't know. People were small. And nurses especially. They're little tiny dress.
It didn't look like a nurse. It looked like a wedding dress.
It looked like
to
a
me.
ball gown. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this elevator. I promised an elevator story.
Right.
So
Okay.
we're here. This is another photo that I couldn't tell if it was just a made up photo, so I didn't even send it to you. But anyways, so the manager, this was from a few years ago, a different manager, but said the structure remains physically the same as when it was the hospital. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Much of the building's original facilities, you kind of talked about that, are there. And that includes the 1926 Otis Elevator.
Yes.
So it's been restored and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanical jazz age marvel is said to truly be a sight to see. I do remember seeing this elevator. It is pretty cool. It's like, it's got the, you know, click, you know, kind of the black lattice work or whatever you call that there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a lot of history, including something that could make you feel a little spooky when you get inside. In 1935, a well-known Jerome resident by the name of Claude Harvey was working as a maintenance man at the hospital. His body was found in the basement, pinned under the elevator. There's like, okay, so little grossness here. There's like photos, and again, but they're not like photos of like a real crime scene from 1935. So that's why I was like, someone just kind of put this together.
Yeah.
But it's literally like a very cartoonish looking like outline of a body.
Oh.
Like right at the elevator. This is like in the maintenance like area, with just like where the head is like just under the elevator, like to show you how.
It sounds like something out of Murderville.
Yeah, it was very much like Murderville looking. But anyways, but it shows you that basically like his body and then his head was just what was crushed by the elevator.
By the way, if you have
Like
not
very
seen
cartoonish
Murderville,
looking.
if you have not seen Murderville, go watch it. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, fun little show for sure.
It's funny.
Okay, so he was killed upon investigation. So it was ruled an accident. But the elevator was not, they couldn't find anything wrong with it. So basically, people have kind of always wondered if he either like jumped to his death, which I'm not quite sure how that would work, or if he was murdered. But, you know, no other cause has been determined, right? You know, they ruled it an accident. But shortly after his death, strange occurrences were reported, especially around the elevator.
Okay.
And then from another source, I found some of those specific stories. So staff working the graveyard shift often see Claude Harvey's ghost near the boiler room, usually walking up the stairs or roaming around as if he's still working. He appears as a shadow against the wall. Nobody has seen a full apparition of him. His shadows have been seen in the laundry room, where staff have also heard him coughing and sneezing. When staff checks out the strange noises, they always find the laundry room vacant.
Okay.
So he's kind of more in like the worky areas as opposed to like the floors.
All right. Well, so let's talk about that Otis elevator again.
Yeah.
So here's another thing about the Otis elevator. It was designed not for use by patients or by visitors to the hospital. It was designed for them to like wheel things in and put big things in, to move furniture. It was like yeah, it was like a shipping kind of thing that they would use.
Sure.
A freight elevator.
There you go.
That's what it was designed more for. So it's interesting that this goes down to the boiler room too, which I have seen pictures of the boiler room, which interesting enough, there's actually 2 boilers in there. There was 3 at one time.
Wow.
One of them was for sterilization of equipment, and they didn't need that anymore, so they donated that to another local hospital. But the other 2 were they have like independent reasons why they're there, and I forget exactly what it is, but it's all very interesting stuff. They all function very well, and they have ever since 1926.
That's crazy. They don't build them like they used to.
No, these are like engineering marvels.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the story about Claude Harvey. First of all, it doesn't come up in any searches when you search for Claude Harvey that he died in an elevator accident. But let's say he did. Okay. Let's just assume that this story is real. You did say that they're not sure the cause of death.
Right.
If he jumped, well, jumping would be next to impossible in that kind of elevator.
That seemed weird to me.
Jumping to his death would be really impossible. Also, someone murdering him would be like, that would be assuming a lot. What I would say is he probably, since he was maintenance, he was probably doing something to the elevator, and that's probably what did it.
Yeah.
Even though nothing was wrong, it doesn't mean it doesn't need general maintenance. And you're supposed to call the Otis elevator people to come do that.
Sure.
Interesting. There was an Otis elevator in the building I used to work at in Chicago when
Okay.
And that thing was broken all the freaking time. So Claude was probably working on the elevator, doing some kind of maintenance to it, and it came crashing down on poor Claude, if that happened. I don't, like, unless I have video or pictures or something like that, it's hard for me to debate this because it's just speculation. I mean, it's just people saying things. Do I think it's real? No, I don't think it's real. I think maybe they see a shadow of something and assume that it is poor Claude. I don't know. But no, I don't think it's anything necessarily. I'm going to give this one a 2 only because there's nothing to debate on this.
Whoa.
And so I want to give them some benefit of the doubt. It does not mean I believe it. It just means that I have nothing. Like, the evidence isn't enough to really debate. There's no pictures. There's no nothing.
No, but you have reports of people hearing noises.
You faked me out with these pictures that you sent.
I know. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to end up finding more evidence to support them. But all right. Well, I give this one a 7.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of stories about it. And these are workers.
I saw you Googling
things.
Claude Harvey.
Yeah. I mean, I think, unfortunately, the haunted stuff is just that's like the big thing. So that's really where you see it. But it is on Wikipedia, the story of his ghost.
Yeah, Wikipedia is written by normal people, not by like journalists or anything like that. So.
But anyways, I do think there was somebody that died. Again, you could debate if he haunts the place.
Sure, maybe. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay. That's why I gave him a 2. So what is your overall rating of this place?
Okay, so my overall rating is going to be a 7.
A 7.
Yeah,
okay, so you never went higher than your 8.
No, I told you that was probably going to be my highest because I felt like we had the strongest evidence for that one.
And that was the gurneys.
The gurneys, yeah. But definitely everything. I mean, there's so many stories, just so many stories. So, so yeah, we're going to give it a 7. How about for you?
I'm going to judge it just based upon the evidence that you gave me, not on other evidence that's out there that nobody knows about. So I'm going to give this a 1.
Okay. Wow.
Because averaging out, I did a couple of zeros, but I did a 1 and a 2.
Okay.
So I'm going to say 1, just round it to 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that brings us to our closing arguments. This is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each giving 1 minute of uninterrupted time, and Rebecca's going to time us both on her cell phone because my cell phone's being used for something.
Yeah,
right
and
now.
I'm going to have to get my cell phone just a second.
Okay. But we do this to keep each other honest.
Okay.
So I'm going to be watching you, Rebecca, because I know you like to...
I do not cheat.
Yeah.
So am I timing myself is what you're telling me?
Yes, you're timing yourself.
Okay, here. I'll put it in the middle so that you can see it and I can see it.
Except for 1 minute.
1 minute.
Okay.
No more, no less. All right, and go. So the Jerome Grand Hotel, one of the most haunted places that we've studied, read about. All of the stories that I shared today, I feel like have a lot to them, a lot of reports, the fact that the hotel keeps record of these things, that, it's definitely a place that a lot of people seem to have these experiences, and just, man, some great stories, some great evidence, especially the gurneys. It was a hospital, like that makes sense to me. The kids, maybe it was a children's ward or something. So yeah, no, I think it's haunted. That's it. I'm going to end a little early.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, go.
So the Jerome Grand Hotel is grand only in people's minds as far as the ghost there. It's the typical story that you've heard a ghost story about it, so therefore it has to be haunted, and any history associated with it has to be haunted. There's not much evidence here. Really, there isn't. As far as concrete, hardcore evidence, there are 2 pictures that Rebecca sent me that she knows nothing more about except for the orb one a little bit. This was not enough to go on. Wasn't enough to do anything. I only gave it a 1 because I can't argue with nothing. It doesn't make any sense. So vote no.
You done?
I'm done, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I want to thank you so much for listening. Please share us with your friends and family. As Rebecca, I don't know if you knew this, but that is our best form of advertisement that we have.
That's true. If you tell other people about us and get them listening, and then they tell other people, and then they tell other people.
Because there's nothing we can do that is as good as what you can do for us. So we strongly encourage you to tell people about it. Tell them that you're listening to this.
And then you can debate it with them.
Exactly. It's a lot of fun.
Super fun.
Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Another shout out here to YouTube. We are on YouTube. We have video on YouTube now. This episode will be a video episode.
You can see me rolling my eyes at Pat.
Yes, all the time.
And then
she rolls
he
her eyes
rolls
all
his
the
eyes
time.
back at me.
I do not roll my eyes ever, Rebecca. So I do want to give a quick mention to our VIP producer level on Patreon. So we have Alicia,
Carrie,
Becky,
Natalie,
Kim,
Ta,
Ernie,
Marisol,
Shayla,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Nicole,
Jessica,
Alice,
Austin,
Aaron,
Hope,
and Candy.
Yep. And on the next Ghostly, we will be talking about, how do you say that?
Beauregard Keys.
Beauregard Keys Hotel in New Orleans.
Well, it's the house. I don't know if it's a hotel.
Oh, hotel.
could
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't know.
sorry. I'm saying hotel. I'm just in hotel mode right
That's
now.
all right.
And it comes out on February 22nd.
Yeah, we're going back to New Orleans. You excited?
Yeah, I'm always excited.
Not physically, but, mentally.
Yeah. If you're in New Orleans, don't go to Cafe Du Monde. Go to Cafe Beignet for your beignets.
Okay.
Just a little bit of a heads up to people. You will have much better service. You will have higher quality food. You will actually have silverware.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they don't complain about you using multiple plates if you want to share.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's a personal thing I have happen
I
to
can
me.
tell, yeah.
But until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.